people are still having sex.
Hey everybody, Roger here. Today we got to talk about this article that just came out today by the New York Times. It's an article about New Hampshire. New Hampshire has 94% white, and everybody in the state are basically wondering, or a couple of people in the state are wondering, how do you diversify the entire state? This is definitely going to be a really good topic for me because this article, as I've read through it, pinpoints a lot of the stuff I wanted to talk about that is so nonsensical and should be a non-issue when it comes to people, their individuality, their capabilities in doing what they can without getting any sort of interference from the state, from government, but basically trying to be their own person. So anyways, what we're going to go through here is just an overview of the nonsensical arguments in regards to being in favor of pushing this multicultural, multi-diversity state when it seems like it's more forced than it is natural, when it should be an individual's will, not the state power to override what's naturally occurring in a state. But anyways, so we go. It starts off with this woman saying that you know, she's from Colombia and she only speaks Spanish, or she speaks Spanish, and she had this one person that she always speaks Spanish to, and they had to play the fucking maid token here. They said, oh, and you know, she was a maid or something like that, and now that she's gone, I don't have anybody to talk to that speaks Spanish because apparently the maid moved back to Colombia. And then the author then proceeds to say that this is that these people feel isolated and alone, and they don't have a sense of community. Okay, number one for me on this. This is so fucking stupid. You can have community with anyone. You don't have to have it just within people within your own race. When you're doing that, you're obviously saying, oh no, I want to be separated. I want this, I want that. And I could give a rat's ass about that. I love people regardless, whether they're my family, whether they're external, non-relatives, they're just friends, whatever. And I will get along with them just as easily. I don't need this BS of saying, oh, you know, now I have nobody to speak Spanish to, whatever. So what? Then at that point, maybe you want to don't have the state control don't have the state control people coming in because of that lame ass reason. Maybe go out there and do something with that. Maybe you have a niche there that you can start marketing and teach Spanish to other people in New Hampshire, regardless if they're white, black, or whatever, even if it is majority white. And then you'll have a community that you can speak Spanish to after a while. See, you can kill two birds with one stone there. It does not have to just be about one single race. It never does. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. We make it that way because we think in terms of second graders as a whole. It's so fucking annoying. So with that, apparently employers say that there's problems in states like this where they find their homogeneity can be a barrier to recruiting and retaining workers of different ethnicities and cultural backgrounds. So New Hampshire thinks that it's an issue in their state that they're limited in the capacity of ethnicities. Okay, again, that's rule number two for me, or problem number two for me as well. Let's look at it from a doctor point of view. If you have doctors in New Hampshire, and you have a state, the state of New Hampshire, all of its officials, they want to start pushing these programs that are going to bring more diversity in. Here's the thing, they're going to be looking at diversity first to try to bring that measure in first. So when you go into a hospital, you're not going to get the best and brightest. You're not going to get the people that are right for the job. You're going to have this extra layer of criteria that's going to be applied. When a doctor wants to work at a hospital or whatever, you know, this doctor might be better and he's white, but then he has like 5 people from India over here who are also doctors, less qualified. And again, I'm using this as an example. And now they're the ones that are hired because they meet that extra requirement of being diverse. Now, the quality of healthcare is going to be that much significantly lower. And I'm not saying that because they're Indian, because again, there's a lot of people from East India that are actually incredibly smart and they're great doctors, the hell of doctors. I'm using this as an example. So if they are by chance less qualified than the person who's white, who has more credentials, possibly more credentials, and again, I'm using an example here, then that state has already fucked up its credibility for being an excellent choice for hospitalization, for surgeries, for medical care, whatever. You know, it's building up that reputation because you're adding that extra layer of nonsensical things that actually do not belong in that field, nor any field, nor any field, nor any field. So it pisses me off to no end. So get over yourselves on that stupid racist tirade.
Down! Get a hold of yourself!
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
Calm down now. Get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's gonna be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Yourself. I gotta get out of here. Out of here. I gotta get out of here.
It sounds like they're going to be forcing this on the state of New Hampshire. They're already coming up with programs. They're meeting together. A lot of groups are meeting together to try to diversify New Hampshire. Again, for the sake of just adding color. This is, again, why these subcategories make absolutely no sense to me. Why should we add this subcategory that we're in? I personally get along with everybody in general. It's just the same. I had a coworker who was from India, and I can talk to her about anything just like I would anybody else. Sometimes there was a point where she would like look at me like, oh my gosh, why are you saying something like that? Because it wasn't something that she was accustomed to, but we would both laugh it off. You know, as you can tell, I'm a little bit of a potty mouth at times, and you know, I have a very wry sense of humor, very dry and wry sense of humor, that it doesn't, she couldn't really compute it well in her head, like, oh, okay, whatever. But anyways, I get along with people from India all the way over to from people from Maine. You know, if you want to go as wide as they come, apparently, I can get along with anybody. And for me, the biggest issue, not the biggest issue, the biggest benefit to me when it comes to meeting people, when it comes to wanting to get people as your friends and acquaintances and stuff, I don't care about their skin color. I don't care about their ethnicity or what they practice in their religion. All I care about is that we get along. And also secondary here, probably should be primary. When it comes to being an American citizen, I care that you put America first. I don't care what your background is, as long as we're able to assimilate together and become a cohesive unity as far as Americans are concerned with the same values and stuff, then that's the most important thing. That's what's missing in America. Not bringing in other people from other cultures all the time and trying to just for the sake of different colors in the world, it makes absolutely no sense. That is not progression. Yeah, you're here's the thing. I'm okay with you bringing in people that are qualified of different colors and different backgrounds and different religions. I'm okay with that, but not just for the sake of just dropping them in. You know, and they're not qualified, and they don't want to assimilate, and they don't understand the culture, and they don't want to do anything to progress to being an actual American. Kind of like the people of yesteryear, when they used to be coming into America, they would hold that pride with flag. They would want to learn English. They would want to. They wanted to be Americans first. They knew that this was a luxury. My God, you know, I trim it down like this in my life. You know how I look at my life? I don't know. I think there's been an estimate of like 2 trillion people who have ever been born. I could be wrong on this statistic. And our world right now is almost 7 billion people. We are about, what, 330? A little bit less than 330 Americans in the United States. Not only that, we are the fortunate ones because we got to live. If you were an American, especially a minority, after 1965, 67, when immigration started really going up, we are fucking blessed. We are blessed to no degree, and everybody feels like it's a curse, and everybody is not understanding of that fact. Look, I am one person of, gosh, I don't know what the minority count is in America. Let's just say I'm one person out of, let's say, 160 million out of 2 trillion potentially born people in the world to live in a country that offers this much freedom. this much freedom, this much opportunity, I am not one of the ones that's going to bitch and moan about all these stupid nonsensical things here. You come into this country, you're a rare breed. You're born to this country, you're a rare breed. You come into this country and want to assimilate, you're an even rarer breed. And that is awesome. That is to be cherished. One life to live, and we should not, you should definitely not take that for granted. So, moving on with this fucked up article. So, with non-whites apparently poised to make up the majority of American population in the next 3 decades. Okay, so that's a sentence in this article. Yeah, that's by force, by the way. Again, we're bringing in people who don't matter. The majority of them don't matter in regards to bringing America, to keeping America flourishing. We're bringing in a lot of people who don't want to assimilate. And that's the problem here, is there's a lot of people who want to come in and they just want to take advantage of the social services that we have. They don't want to really do any moving up or anything. And granted, they might have a son or a daughter here and there that actually might want to be a good student, be a good role model and everything. And they'll break out, kind of like all of me and my siblings. We're not your typical, in my family, we're not the typical, from what I would see, we're not the typical Mexican that would want to just stay traditional the whole time, and I might be that one rare breed in my family who took it up a notch, and so I know I have different ideals in regards to a lot of people. My sister and I kind of talk, and her and I kind of gel a lot the most as far as like politics are concerned, but she's very quiet about her politics, so I don't really bother her all that much about it. But anyways, if you import all these people and you start getting a lot of people who don't want to assimilate, but yet you get that 1% that does, that's still not enough. That's still not enough, because we're in a downward trend. We're in a downward trend at that point of bringing in people who don't want to assimilate. We're giving them a lot of benefit. We're giving them a lot of cush. I mean, there's Mexicans, I think it's still about 60 to 70% who have been here 20 plus years. 20 plus years. 60 to 70% Mexicans who have been here 20 plus years still take advantage of one or more government assistance programs.
By the third week of the month, Maritza Nelson's $240 in food stamps, $240 in food stamps, $240 in food stamps has run out, leaving her $9 in cash and seven people to feed.
People are still having sex. Nothing makes them stop. The safe thing's not working.
Yet the 50-year-old single mother who entered the U.S. by swimming across the Rio Grande has government-funded housing, medication, and $700 a month in Social Security. Government-funded housing, medication, and $700 a month in Social Security. She's been on assistance for 20 years, and wants others to know that help is available.
When you really need it, go look for help before it's too late.
Shouldn't we be working for ourselves? Shouldn't we be trying? I mean, I'm by no means, towards my goals in my life, but I work my ass off. And you know what I give up for it? I give up personal time with my family. I give up personal time with my loved ones. I work, and it's a flaw of mine. I'm trying to correct it, but that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of people out there. I do feel like I'm one of the ones that works. I give my all. I know what it's like to give my all. And I see all these people out there, especially at the old place I used to live at. There were people who just didn't want to give. They would just be milking off the system, and I'd be going to work every single morning, crossed by all these people who didn't want to give anything. They just take. Couldn't do it anymore. So I moved. But beyond that, you guys do see the potential danger of not having. I think Trump is right in this. The vetting process needs to be very strict. It needs to be controlled. And it's not. This didn't even begin with Trump. I had this idea way further back. We need to have people who want to be Americans in America. We need to stop bringing in all these people who don't want to be a part of our country. So now they say New Hampshire's future economy is dependent on our ability to set ourselves up as a welcoming state. You guys already are. You already are. I can go into New Hampshire and go to any store, any facility, and I'd be welcome. You guys are going to take my money because it's green. There is no sense, there is no reason to add this extra layer of forced integration that isn't natural. Look, if it's a majority white state, so the fuck what? So what? Maybe they got something right there. Maybe they're doing something right. Later on down the line in this article, they start mentioning, but the majority of people who actually own property here, who live here, this is their second property, and the majority of them are seniors as well. I mean, there's not really an issue. You're making an issue out of nothing. I do not know what they have as far as I do not know what a lot of people's issue is in regards to states that are primarily white. Look, I could. Am I right? I can move to New Hampshire if I wanted to. If I wanted to. Being a Mexican person, I could. Here's the thing. I shouldn't need a state to force that on me. I should be able to move in there through my own free will, through my cred, as an individual who's proficient in technology. I should be able to move into that state, find my own housing, and that's the other thing. Talk about a pity party. They're saying, if we want to have people move in that are different ethnicities, they probably can't afford the housing here, so we're going to have to do something about that because I guess the housing is out of their price range. Okay, so now you want to look at census data? Now you want to actually look at how much people make? I'm sorry, but your argument is stupid again. If they can't afford to live there, so the fuck what? If I can't afford to live in a place, I'm not going to force myself into a place knowingly. I would rather afford what I can afford, whether it's in Arizona, whether it's in Phoenix, Scottsdale, whether it's in Colorado, whether it's in Washington, Seattle, whatever. If I want to live in a place, I'm going to do my own due diligence research. And make sure that with what my field is, what I can expect as far as income is concerned, I will determine if I want to move into a state with those credentials and with those factors in mind. That's the way it should be for everybody as well. You shouldn't, just because things are more expensive there, it just means, hey, you can move there when your time comes. I would move there when my time comes. If my time comes and I start making a lot of money and I have an interest in moving into New Hampshire, whatever this fucking state is again, then I'll do it. But if not, it's not going to kill me. It's not going to kill anybody else either to have the state be 95% white. What are you going to do with all those other countries then? With all these, what are your thoughts on all these other countries that don't practice this type of forced diversity that we're trying to push into America? It makes absolutely no sense. What do you want to do? Make another Detroit? What do you want to do? Make another Chicago where crime is rampant and you just want to throw it all away and not address the real issues? What do you want to do? Do you really want to break down America that bad? Doesn't make any sense. And even then, even with that in mind, I'm not even saying that all white people are clean and they don't commit crimes or anything, but just look at the data there. Look at the data. Look at how safe it is. Look at the gun crime statistics from those. Look at the gun crime statistics for Idaho. I mean, none of these places have the big issues that we have where there is a huge level of diversity. I'm going to go ahead and give these states that credit. Here's where I'm going to stop with this article now, but I'm going to start moving in the direction that I wanted to. Here's my philosophy of the whole thing. Here's my thoughts on all this. I don't think the problem is the race of the person. I think the problem is the communities that we live in and how they teach us. A lot of us, and a lot of Americans are in the public school system, And in the public school sector, we're taught a certain way. We are also conditioned en masse. And with that, when we come out of this, we think a certain way. We think in ways that should not be, I would say, considered normal. If you come from a place where you're always being told that you're a victim, you're gonna fall prey to being a victim. If you come from a place like Chicago, chances are, whether you're white or black or Mexican, whatever, chances are you're probably going to be a high percentage of you are going to fall under the category of being needing assistance or being a shithead when you're older, or not getting anywhere in life. Chances are, I think the chances are high. But then when you go to a school that is affluent, that has good grades, and let's just take a look at maybe an all-black school with a lot of students that get really good grades, and then they look at how they turn out afterwards. I'm pretty sure the majority, like later on in life, after they graduate and they have a family and stuff, I'm pretty sure those are the type of people. Those black people are going to be the ones living in nice neighborhoods. They're adding to the population in New Hampshire for minorities. These people of color with the right chain of thought, when they're young and their minds are fragile and they really need good direction, start them off young. Don't start them off as entitled, because then you're going to have people moving into your state that are just entitled, feeling entitled all the time. So anyways, what are your guys' thoughts? I do feel that they're going the wrong direction. Everybody who wants to just say it's all about the race and not ever taking into account the individual within the race to try to make it on their own. They don't need no state. They don't need any of these qualifiers. They just need to be working hard. We need to start kids young to feel like they're important regardless of the race. And that also applies to being American. You know, when we start kids off young, saying that they're proud of, you know, showing them what there is to be proud of and being an American, it can go a long way. It can go a huge long way into shaping that individual, whether they're Indian, Chinese, black, Mexican, Filipino, whatever. It's going to go a long way to helping them make up their own minds about what state they want to live in, what state they want to move in, what they want to be when they grow older, if they want to make millions, if they want to make $20,000 a year, whatever. As long as the person is proud to be an American, that is first and foremost the biggest thing. Everything else will come thereafter if they know the rewards of what and the blessing that it is to be an American. Everything else is going to come thereafter, regardless of color. Quit throwing in this bullshit narrative that it has to be about race and color. Fuck that shit. And this goes to all the people who are white ethno-state people as well. I just do not understand this logic. You guys are all looking at it from a point of view of just color. You're not seeing that within that spectrum that there's actually something else that's more important there, and that's the upbringing and the personality and the background of the individual, not the color. Regardless of the color, it's those characteristics that are going to make America great. All right, let me know your thoughts. Like, rate, hate, rate, share, subscribe, don't subscribe, whatever. I love you all. I hope you guys all have a great day. Oh, and bring that conversation down below. I would love to see your guys' thoughts on this. Peace out. 7 people to feed.
People are still having sex. Nothing makes them stop. The safe thing's not working.